Hey sweetheart, welcome back to my channel, to the Richie Reader. So I'm back with reading another snippet, this time book 2 of my Jasmine Perez series titled Jasmine Perez and Another Realm. So this one is chapter 21. The last one was, I think, chapter 20 I did in the last book. It's called The Enchanted Region. And once again, I don't think it's going to be too spoilery. You might be confused if you haven't read book 1 and then what up to this point of book 2. But yeah, so I'll just dive right in. Jasmine immediately felt the cold breeze blow through her hair once she stepped through the mirror. It was cloudy, which explains the wind, but it's not cloudy enough to rain, just enough to be chilly. But Jasmine didn't care. The realm always seemed so the that realm always seemed so warm. Jasmine couldn't stop smiling. She was so glad to be back in her own realm. Birds flew from tree to tree, the flowers were healthy, the sky was blue, the grass was green. Nothing new, really, but it all seemed different to her. She's been gone for over a year. It was just exciting and breathtaking to finally be back. Home, Jasmine breathed. Jax and Jenny both smiled as they watched her. "You've really missed it here, huh, Princess?" Jenny asked. "You have no idea," Jasmine replied. Jenny put her arm around her best friend's shoulder and pulled her close, as Jasmine giggled. Jax was on the other side of her and they locked eyes. Jasmine reached her hand toward his as he accepted it. "We're home," Jenny exclaimed. Jax laughed. But now what? They all frowned as that question was finally asked. They finally got Jasmine back, but there's still so much they need to do, and none they actually know how to do. They both looked to Jasmine. They've followed her for so long, and even though she's been gone, it only seems right that they continue following her lead. They trust her judgment and her rule. "First things first, we reunited with the rest of our team," Jasmine told them. They nodded. It might have been a while, but Jasmine hasn't forgotten how to appear royal and regal. She knows she needs to show authority if she's going to properly lead them through this mess. Jasmine took the lead as they followed her. It seemed to take a while, but they finally managed to get out from underneath the kingdom. Jasmine still baffled that she never knew that place existed. It must have been deserted since Rosemary died, closed off from the kingdom and the world, until Lilac returned. Yet it appeared gorgeous, like it hadn't been left behind and forgotten for 100 plus years, unless, of course, Lilac never actually left. Is there really a possibility that she never left? That Jasmine's entire life Lilac was just below the palace, possibly watching her every movement, keeping her close, keeping her friends close? Keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. That is the saying, right? It feels like she's been gone for a decade rather than just 1 year. But the thought of Lilac just being underneath Jasmine her entire life freaked her out. It was very disturbing and unsettling to even consider. It's a possibility that Rosemary kept it alive with her magic, but then it would die when she did. Or perhaps not, bloodline magic or something, and it stays alive and healthy as long as she has a descendant alive. That makes more sense. It's not as disturbing and unsettling. She likes that a lot better, so that's the scenario she's going with, for now at least. But the thought was still at the back of her mind. Jasmine was thankful to be out from underground, but now she was back at her palace, the palace she hasn't seen or been to in so long. All the memories of which were hardly any to fantasize about, came back. It was still so hard to look at all the pictures of royals on the walls. They all looked so official, yet not one of Jasmine, as if she didn't even exist. She felt the same way looking at all of the pictures of Ava and her family in Ava's country house. But Jasmine wasn't a part of Ava's life. She was a part of Elijah's, sort of. Jasmine found herself dragging behind as Jax and Jenny were in front. They were discussing their upcoming plans, not noticing nor caring about their surroundings, but Jasmine couldn't help it. She stopped when she saw a familiar bedroom, Alice's. Tears formed in her eyes as she touched her amulet around her neck. Alice's room has never changed after death. Elijah always kept it the same. Not out of sentiment, of course, but because there were hundreds, thousands of rooms in this ginormous palace. He just didn't care enough to tackle the room. It was the only one room in the palace that had any pictures of her growing up, as if she actually existed. Because she did, to Alice, in Alice's heart. Ava wasn't in Jasmine's life at all. Jasmine was only halfway in Elijah's life, but she was completely in Alice's life, and there was proof. Jax called. Jasmine snapped out of her thoughts and turned to face him. "Are you coming?" Jenny asked. "Of course," Jasmine replied. She ran and caught up to them before they rounded the corner. She was ready to get the hell out of this place. Jasmine led Jenny to take the lead. Jenny still remembers how to get to Ben's cottage, whereas Jasmine does not, but she But she keeps telling herself that it's okay. Considering her most recent situation, she was bound to forget a few things. Besides, she refuses to rule as her father did, where everything has to be his way, where he was always right, even when he wasn't. She wants to be better than him, a better queen for the kingdom, for her people. She trusts her friends more than anything. She trusts them with her life, as they have trusted her with theirs. Some of this seemed familiar to her. She had trudged from her palace to Ben's cottage once before. She saw the area that made Lilac had made nature attack them, where she decided to leave them behind because they weren't friends yet. Right before she met Ben, they were getting close now. They continued on the path they were on. Jasmine noted Jenny's excitement, probably for seeing Ben again. Jax kept his eye. bleh, Jax kept eyeing Jasmine, probably to see if she's okay, as she's been saying. They crossed an open field. The wind had gotten stronger, but they trudged through nonetheless. Then they crossed the forest. They had to swipe away tree branches and step over logs. They got out of the forest, and Jasmine moved her hair out of her face as she saw Ben's cottage. Her mouth formed a smile as she got excited to see her first real friend again. They got closer, and Jasmine noticed the dark forest looming in the distance, the place where she met Ben. She remembered that day clearly. The dark forest was calling to her, as if she was under some sort of spell. Ben saved her from going inside. Jasmine's eyes went back to the cottage. Something was off. Something was different. She could feel it, like a sixth sense. Jenny ran up the steps, a smile plastered to her face. Jasmine's hands went up, and an invisible barrier blocked her from entering. She fell to the ground, and Jackson immediately helped her up. "Jasmine!" Jenny exclaimed as she groaned. "What was that all about?" Jax asked. "Something is not right. I just cannot put my finger on in front of it," Jasmine replied. Jasmine stepped in front of them. She disappeared. And the barriers disappeared. She slowly and carefully stepped through the threshold and took a quick glance around. She gasped when she saw Amara lying on the ground. She lifted her head and noted that it was bleeding. It didn't look too bad. It could definitely be a lot worse. Jax and Jenny followed inside and stopped in their tracks. This place was ransacked, not to mention Amara being unconscious. Jenny's heart sank. She ran across the house and out of the back door. It was obvious that she was heading to the cellar. Jax knelt down next to Jasmine. "Is there a way to wake her up?" Jasmine sighed. "I don't know." He he put his hand on her back, and she let his touch calm her tense muscles and her beating heart. Jasmine closed her eyes as she lifted her right hand, keeping her left arm under Amara's head, and placed her hand on her forehead. Magic surrounded her hand and Amara's head. Amara's eyes shot open as she gasped for air. "Amara!" Jasmine called. Amara sat up and took deep breaths, trying to calm down. "Are you all right?" Jax asked. "I heard," Amara replied. She looked around as her head was throbbing. Her muscles were sore, her breathing slow. She touched the back of her head and looked at her fingers as she saw blood on them. "What happened?" Amara asked. "We don't know," Jax replied. "We just got back." Amara looked at them and then to her, like she's just noticing. "Jasmine, you're back. It appears that way, for good this time." Jasmine held out her hand. Amara accepted it as they both stood up, along with Jax. "I remember everything that happened here," Amara told her. "It all came flooding back to me." "Which would be?" Jax asked. "We were attacked by Lilac," Amara replied. "Ava and Ben tried to hold her off." "What happened to them?" Jasmine asked. "She made Ava disappear," Amara replied. "My guess is some place different than before to throw us off her trail." "And Ben?" Jasmine asked, tears forming in her eyes as one hand was over her heart. "Lilac was heading over to me, and Ben got me out of the way," Amara replied. "That's how I hit my head and got unconscious. I didn't see what happened after that. But my guess is that she took him to the same place as Ava." Jax groaned in frustration. Jenny immediately ran out of the back door once she didn't see Ben in the cottage. She ran to the cellar and pulled the trap door, but it wouldn't budge. "It must be locked or stuck, but that's not possible. Ben keeps his cellar in good condition. That includes the trap door." That gave her hope. If it was locked, then Ben may be nah, then Ben may be waiting in there, hiding, keeping himself safe. "Ben, are you in there?" It was silent, and that scared her. Her heart raced, her eyes filled with tears. She never let herself care uh, about someone this much, and now she was terrified. "Ben!" Hoping that he just didn't hear her the first time, she also never had this much blind hope and faith before. Then she met Ben, and everything changed. A tear rolled down her cheek, followed by another one. She grabbed a rubber band from her pocket and pulled her blonde hair back. She got tired of it blowing every which way by that blasted wind, especially in her face. This is why she never had long hair before. She stood up and looked at her surroundings. She had to get in that cellar, one way or another, even if that meant by force. She wiped her tears away from her cheeks and slowed down her heart rate. She needed to have a clear mind. She knew that much. She noticed a rock by the cellar door. It wasn't small, but it wasn't big either. She smiled as she bent down toward it. She had completely forgotten. Ben told her before she went to that other realm, something no one else knows, just in case something did happen. She picked it up, and a golden key was revealed. She put the key into the keyhole, then heard the click. She put the key in her pocket and quickly swung the door open. She wanted to just run in there and into Ben's arms, but it wasn't like him to not say something when she called to him. She has to be smart about this, to be cautious. Jenny slowly walked down the steps and gazed in the darkness. She turned the light switch on, but still didn't see anyone. Everything seemed rather ordinary. She heard footsteps and spun around just as someone tried to hit her with a metal rod, but she caught it in her hand. She pulled it out of the weak grasp with one hand, her other hand on her hip, and threw it across the cellar with a clunk on the ground. He was small, couldn't be more than 13. You're not exactly a ninja, are you, kid? I'm not a kid, and give me a break. I'm new to this. She looked him up and down, trying to access what's going on. Are you working for Lilac? He scoffed. Hardly. She kidnapped me. The boy who owns the cellar rescued me. Jenny's eyes widened. Ben? Ben saved you? Yes. You know him? Jenny slowly nodded, unsure how to answer at first. You can say that. I'm his girlfriend. Zeke looked skeptical. Are you Jenny? Yes, actually. Ben told me about you, Zeke told her. And you are? Zeke. I'm Amara's little brother. You're the brother, Jenny commented. That's me. Zeke let out a slight chuckle. Jenny couldn't help but to laugh. Let's get back to the cottage, kid. Zeke frowned. I'm not a kid. Keep telling yourself that, kid. Jenny told him. She led him up the stairs and out of the cellar. Jenny and Zeke walked back inside the cottage. They saw Jasmine healing the back of Amara's head with her magic as Jax comforted her. Amara immediately looked up and gasped. She ran over and engulfed Zeke into a crushing hug. Can't breathe, Zeke told her. She let go as she examined him. Are you all right? Zeke sighed. Yes, I stayed hidden just like Ben told me to. Good. Jane looked around. Where is Ben? Amara sighed as she stood up. Lilac took him and Ayla. Jenny's heart sunk as she stumbled backwards. Jakes held on to her. We'll get them back, Jen. Jen looked Jenny looked up and managed a small smile as she nodded, afraid to talk, because her voice may crack and reveal how she truly feels about the situation. Jasmine looked out the window that was by the front door. Jax and Jenny joined, while Amara and Zeke stayed where they were. There was a long moment of silence. Jax and Jenny was a foot or two behind Jasmine and followed her gaze to the darkened sky. Some homecoming, huh? Jax asked. You can say that again, Jenny replied, finally finding her voice again. She knows that I'm back, Jasmine told them. How do you know that? Jenny asked. I just know, Jasmine replied. What now, Jax asked. Playtime's over, Jasmine replied. I'm tired of running and hiding, of being 10 steps behind her all the time. What are you suggesting, Princess? Jenny asked. That enough's enough, Jasmine replied. We're going after her this time. I'm finally ready. This war's coming to an end. She could feel it in her soul. The final battle is coming to an end. And that is chapter 21. Um, I hope you enjoyed my little snippet. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys next time.